Today on Gamers Couch,
Kingdom Builder. Welcome to Backlog, a show I may have just invented without telling Sarah while screwing up her intro to Gamers Couch, a show you're watching now. So what is Backlog? Well, it is either a log in your backyard or it is a show where we talk about games you probably know about because they're old. In our case, however, we haven't played all the games under the sun, even though it may have been covered up by a moon in a big conspiracy of, let's say, galactic proportions, or at least stellar proportions. So today, you can join us as we talk about an old-ass game called Kingdom Builder, and we can tell you what we think, and then maybe you can extrapolate from there if it still holds up, and if you don't have it or don't know it, maybe it's worth getting.
I'm gonna let him do the intros every week now. I'm resigning from the intro. You're the man to do them. Coming.
Okay, so please tell us how this game works.
No. You just got an extra job. I'm still not the rules explainer because you're the perfect Erklärbär, as the Germans say. Is there an English word for that? I don't think. Is there? Daniel.
It's Erklärbär.
Really?
Yes, that's the English specific. The Merriam-Webster dictionary has under Erklärbär either a bear that is purple and explains everything, or Daniel, or some nonsense Daniel may have just made up.
Yeah, maybe. So, since you heard what we're going to talk about, there's just one little thing that I have to add for housekeeping. The sections are as usual, rules and gameplay first, likes and dislikes next, with a rating and funny stories and experiences. We'll close out this show. There is no teaser for Draw for Initiative because we published Draw for Initiative this week, and Daniel was right when guessing it was The Witcher, the board game. So everybody's totally bewitched now.
Isn't it called The Witcher, the adventure game? No.
Maybe.
I don't
remember, and I didn't look back there.
And I don't care.
That's true too.
That's true.
And I can talk. So, let's start off this funny thing with rules and gameplay, and do your thing telling the folks how the game is going, playing stuff.
Kingdom Builder is a rather simple area control game for 2 to 4 players. It is quickly played and still manages to mix up a couple of things to make each play interesting. You'll start out by picking a color. Then you assemble the board, which consists of up to 4 of these modular tiles. The game comes with 8, and actually the scoring track is printed on the back side of each of them, so 1/5 will always go in as the scoring track, and the rest can be used to assemble well, not entirely random, but more randomized area. On the board, you will see that there's different types of terrains. We've got grasslands, we've got the desert, we've got some flower patches, a forest, then some quarry kind of thing. Here we have also mountains and water, which are kind of inaccessible in most cases. And as special tiles, there are cities on here. We have these castles here with the silver outlining, which tend to be worth extra points. And then we have, locations, as they are called, which have their own little tiles. And these allow you to get some special abilities, again, adding to the kind of modularity or changing the game up from playthrough, because every of these bigger tiles has a different location tile with different rules and effects. Next to the board, you will find references to those special tiles that go for each quadrant. And that's essentially the game board where you want to put your little settlements on. Because the game is called Kingdom Builder and you want to build a kingdom. You have a good number of settlements and the entire game is about you placing them on these boards, one settlement on per hex, and then at the end of the game you see who has built the best kingdom. But wait, I hear you ask, how do you determine best in regards to kingdoms? Well, again, part of the modularity of this is you will draw 3 cards that kind of describe the victory conditions to you, or at least the scoring conditions. In our case, we have the traders, the lords, and the fishermen. Which essentially say that the trader says you get bonus points for connecting special tiles or special locations with your little settlement. So let's see if I can do that real quick. So let's say you have, let's take this, you connect these 2 tiles with your little settlements, then you would get 4 victory points for each connected special tile, so that would be 8 points through that. The Lords gives you victory points for having the most settlements in a singular quadrant, so one of these 4, hence the word quadrant. Why run? Difficult to talk with a full mouth of teeth and tongue. And the fishermen give you victory points for placing settlements next to water. So you get a point for the settlement that is next to water. You don't get points for the water space, which will become more important later on. Also, these castles are worth 3 points if you have at least 1 settlement at the end of the game next to them. So you just want to kind of build them there. So how does the game work? And it's well, we start out with these little funky cards here, and on your turn, and let's
you
say
are the start player. You have the token.
You reveal this card, and then you get to place 3 settlements, or you have to place 3 settlements as your mandatory action on this terrain. In regards to placement rules, well, there's not too much. You just need to, pay attention that you place it on that type of terrain that is depicted here. And then, secondly, you need to place your settlement next to another settlement if possible. Meaning, once you're committed to a place on the board, it's really difficult for you to get away from there unless you are kind of boxed in by terrain that you cannot colonize. And as I said, these cards have every type of terrain on here except for the mountains and the water. So what I'm going to do is I place my first 3 settlements probably somewhere where I either get one of these location tiles, and I'll talk to them in a minute. I guess Sarah will go there
about
because
them, not to them, but you could.
So the first move I make is one where I place my 3 settlements down here for a simple reason. First of all, I will get 3 victory points for getting this castle tile at the end of the game, unless someone removes my settlements. Also, I'm surrounded by water except for this little desert space there, which means on my next turn, unless I draw a desert card, I can probably select another space because I cannot fulfill the restriction that I have to place next to a tile. So that is my card. It gets discarded and I draw a new one.
I have the wooden area and
the forest.
The forest.
The front log.
And I'm going to go here because I want to get the Stonehenge tile. So I'm going to get one of these. I'm going to flip it over to remember that coming next turn I can add another house of the card color that I drew.
I think it's worth pausing here and talking to you about those location tiles. You can claim one location tile if you build a settlement next to that particular location. You see that there's 2 tiles per location, and that actually is the same for a 3 or 4 player game. And you can only claim one of those tiles per location you build next to each other, but you could get more of the same if they are present. The Stonehenge thing is only on this board once, but for example, these palm trees here, or the oasis is here twice, so you could get up 2 of those tiles. These effectively give you a special action that you can use every turn once if you want to, either before or after your mandatory you have to place 3 settlements based on your card action. The ones we have in this game are Stonehenge, which allows Sarah to place a 4th settlement matching the card that she played. So if she would have had that before, and this is like a tongue breaker woodchuck thing, if she would have had that thing, she could have built on wood once more with
forest.
Her,
it's
with,
called forest. I hear
with her front lock card, which is called the forest in more common tongue. On the board as well, we have locations like the Oasis that I just briefly mentioned, which allows you per turn to place 1 settlement on a desert tile. The Tower, which allows you to place a settlement on an edge tile, so somewhere around the board edge. And on my quadrant, there's the harbor, it's called. It's a little ship, which is allowing you to move one of any settlements on the board to a water space, which is also pretty cool. Again, with the rule that these have to be adjacent to another settlement. So if I had the harbor tile, I could move, for example, my settlement here to this or this space, but it has to be adjacent next to my other, or down here, that would work as well. But the adjacency is important. That adjacency also counts for the tower, which says, yes, you have to place it next to or on the edge, but still adjacent to a settlement if you can. So, for example, if Sarah would have the tower, she would have to place it the settlement either here, there, or there, because it has to go next to another settlement. So you might already guess correctly that this game is a little bit about, long-term strategy, trying to fulfill these cards to gather victory points, but also being mindful of where you place your settlements in order to, you kind of want to cut yourself short a little bit, or box yourself in with tiles, or reduce the amount of tiles that you can expand to, just to give you the option to maybe place a settlement across the board and just open up your possibilities, especially in the beginning. That's why I actually went down here. Instead of, I could have gone for let's say the Oasis with my starting move, but then I have a lot more spaces here that I could move across. So let's see what I got for my next turn. Well, my card says I am maybe a hippie and have to,
you are in the flower field.
Have to work with some flowers. Now I have the same thing. I could try to either go to a place that boxes me in, or I could go to some place that allows me a little bit more freedom in movement. Let's see. I think I will go up here just to have a presence on this thing. And I'm placing my 3 settlements here specifically because then I'm only close to forest and the meadow kind of thing here. Grasslands. I get one of these tiles that I can use next turn, and it's Sarah's turn.
I'm having the grasslands, and now I can also use the token that I got last turn. Yes, place a 4th, and it will go here. Mm-hmm. And I get a new card. Woo! That's awesome.
And these turns are rather quick, unless you have someone like me who's talking to you the entire time. So just to drive my point home, I have another set of flowers, but I can now also use my my little pony. I wanted to
yeah, and I thought it.
So actually, I'm using that to hopefully my benefit by placing these guys here. and then using my
Excuse me.
desert tile to start moving into the desert area down here. Now that doesn't give me any more big moves for next turn, but who knows?
I'm flower fielding as well. I'm gonna flower field 3 times here. And the 4th one I'm going to put... I'm gonna put it... that's not... there.
So Sarah's going for the tower, and that would give her the opportunity to build
On
something
the edge.
on the edge.
I'm living on the edge.
Yes.
Ooh.
So my next card is the meadow again. I'm using that to kind of already trying to move towards the connect different cities here by placing that here. Now I can still use my place the sand thing. The unfortunate part for me though is that oh, and I forgot I can take a second one. The reasoning I have to go through now is, do I place the settlement, which probably isn't worth a lot of points just by placing it here, because moving down here doesn't help me that much. But since the game ends with when a player runs out of settlements, it is worth kind of to accelerate if you have the feeling that you're ahead in points. So I'm placing...
So you think you're ahead?
So I'm placing that there just to
annoy me,
to accelerate the
to be a good husband. I have the canyon, and I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4.
So Sarah's pretty
and
lucky with her card draws.
I'm edgy.
Okay.
On the forest.
So my next thing I can build on is the forest, which is really not useful for me at the moment. Maybe no, even building with my 2 sand tiles that doesn't help much. So I'll have to bite the bullet and kind of start building forest stuff. Oops, forest stuff. And again, I'm using more just for
yellowing.
Just for making sure that I also have the majority in this quadrant. I'll take this one.
I'm flower fielding. 1, 2.
Doesn't look good for
3,
me.
4, and I'm edgy on the forest.
Okay.
Oh no, here. This. There we go.
I have the... Still not sure what this is, if this is a quarry or something.
It looks like a canyon, no?
Maybe. I'll put these down here because they are worth points close to water. I should not forget that. And then I can still place another 2. I think I'll clog up this here, so whatever happens down here, I don't get to do stuff, and try to get some points by building there.
I'm deserting. Oh, don't make me hungry. 1,
That's
2,
not the same.
3, 4. I get a new tower, and I'm edging here.
So if it wasn't clear regarding the location cards, as you can see, even though I have built multiple settlements next to that one, you still get only 1 tile per of these location pieces. So that means that theoretically Sarah could try to go for the other one if she manages to get her settlement over there. I have another forest, and I hate forests for the time being because...
I was about... Why? You're growing a tree on our balcony.
I'm pretty sure next up I will draw these stupid flowers again. And then be forced to do that.
You'll be forested?
But I keep on trucking along the coastline here in hopes that I get some points through that.
I do the thing that helps me most, going along the coast, before. No, I have that one already. Now I can forest twice on the edge. I cannot go any further here, so
you can place on any edge tile.
Yeah, I don't. So I have to go here because I couldn't extend.
Yes, you cannot
here.
place it on.
So I'm going here and here.
Okay.
1, 2. Yes.
So this is slightly more fortunate. I'm using first one of my special actions to fill up this last sand tile, meaning I now can place an additional sand tile and my 3 base tiles anywhere. And since we are surrounded by so much water, I think it's quite useful for me to try and get a harbor tile and make my way through here. So that I can, in a later move, try to get something placed over there. Now, the big question for me is, do I want to move to another sand tile? I don't actually have that many more moves ahead of me. But I think I'll place this guy here.
All right. I'm foresting.
Forest Gumping.
2 and the other 2 go here, and then I have 2 edges and quite edgy over here.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so you almost are done as well. So let's see.
2 more houses for me.
Already last turn, and I draw the card that's not useful at all in this context. So let's see if I can do some very quick magic. That would help. I don't think so. I cannot get to another city, which would give me some more points. I think the thing that could help me a little bit is by moving one guy off the coast and then placing one with my harbor and other special action, and then I can just start placing my 3 base things and then my last special sand desert thing, and then that's that.
And my last 2 houses go into the desert. There's nothing fancy here to do. There we go.
Okay.
I'm done.
And that's the game. So
now we can.
Sarah ended the game by placing all her settlements. Since I'm the starting player, I don't get to move or get another move. If I would have ended, Sarah would have gotten another move out. Now we would just go through and count the points. Do you want to do that and then cut that together so that they don't have to wait us and see the embarrassing moment of one?
Come on, good. I'm gonna speed it up and make a funny, funny sound maybe.
Connecting locations. Surprisingly, both of us only have one, I think, or at least one set of locations. I have these 2 which are worth 8 points, and you have these 2 that are worth 8 points, and that's it. Then we have the Lords, most settlements in a quadrant, 12 points for the biggest and 6 gold for the second biggest. Sarah gets 12 here and 12 here because I wasn't able to draw the correct card to move me in there. I'm getting 12 there, 12 here. And Sarah gets another 6 here for the 2 things, so she has actually a settlement in there, which does not bode well for me. Now let's talk about fishermen. 1 gold for each settlement, so that's for Sarah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21.
22, 23, 24, 25.
Yes.
2, so 23, that would be 63. Okay.
Okay. Here I have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15.
So that's 47.
And last but not least...
Did you count that one?
I think so, yes. 7, 8...
Okay, okay.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter then. And then we have our castles, and I think I am the only one who built next to a castle, so I'm getting a glorious 3 points.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And that's that.
It's the second time I ever won this game. I like to play on camera.
Because I was distracted with explaining the game. As you can see, the game is rather short. So 45 minutes, I would say if you're playing with 4 players more than 2 players, or depending if you want to take your time and plan out your moves, it might take longer. I have to say, and we're sliding into likes and dislikes already with that, is I do enjoy the game for being a shorter type of thing. The Kingdom Builder is by Donald X. Vaccarino. I hope I don't butcher the name too much, whose name you probably also couldn't pronounce when Dominion came out, and he made that. But this is very different from Dominion. Obviously, this is not deck building. This isn't you are kind of going through the same iterations and doing stuff. This is really more hands down. More. If I had to go the shorthand and try to explain this, I would say this is similar to a little bit of Go with randomizers in there. That's a very bad comparison because you wouldn't have that type of area control, and that's just, I would just use that as a way to say it's like another area control game with some random elements. But I think that's what I like about this. It's a very compressed area control game that has only a couple of things that get modified, but they are enough to make things interesting every time. And if you want to, you can put a lot of thought into it, but you still can go in and say, let's try if this works out. And then you get screwed by the cards you draw just like I did.
The heart of the cards was not with you.
Yes, I should have summoned the blue dragon, and then
you would have had a chance.
Ran into your trap card and stuff.
Totally.
At least my houses are built correctly and not standing upside down or on their side.
This one does. No, does it? Yeah.
And this one does. Oh. And this one does.
I do that all the time.
That one does.
Really have trouble.
And that one does. And that one does. And this is also.
Well, almost too short to have it be built correctly. But I do second what you said. I really like this game. It's almost in the dinner game category for me because it plays so fast with the two of us. If we play with a family, which would be the second category, family game, we would definitely go to the 45 minutes. But just the two of us, we can play pretty much best out of 3 as a dinner game, which I really like. The artwork and stuff is not super fancy, but I don't need it for this game. And
I think it's similar to Dominion.
Very similar. It's very
It's feasible for not playing just as an. You could totally play this as an entirely abstract game.
Yeah,
I think it's all right, but the theme is very light.
But I don't miss it really. No. And you said earlier this is one of the lighter area control games. Me not really loving that mechanism to Kingdom Come. I like the light.
I get a pun freeze, a pun migraine.
Pun migraine. Well, you give me those frequently. I gotta get back at you once in a while. But I really like this very light area control mechanism in this game. It doesn't. I don't want to say it doesn't bother me, but some games it's a bit too heavy and they are not as enjoyable as this one. This very light version of the mechanism is for me, so I like that a lot. And it's like I said, it's a dinner game or a a family game, I have to give it a minus point for the manual. The German one was very vague with stuff, so we had to hit the net a couple of times just to make sure that we play correctly, because the word location is overused in the manual, and it was kind of like, so either we get 500 points or 0, so we just had to hit the web a bit, and I was not super happy with that, so that's just 1 minus point.
But to put that into context, I think the manual is okay in most parts, but there was, as Sarah said, we had some confusion in, can you have multiple of these location tiles, because the sentence is a little bit weird by saying it's like, you can place next to a location and claim a location tile, but you can only claim 1 tile per location, which but then immediately you brings up the question, wait, does it mean 1 location on the board or 1 type of is this a location, or are these 2 together 1 location? It's just confusing. It's just unfortunate, and for a game that is actually rather simple like this, that shouldn't be a thing coming up. But that's something you find out once, and then you're good. That's
why I didn't hate on it. It's just 1 minus point.
I also like this is since this isn't super involved and still has this modularity. It's quick to set up and then get started to play, which I don't think we actually planned on playing a full round here.
No. But I kind of like it because it's gonna go into the book, and you have to record the points. Please do, please. I wanna.
Well, we'll see about that. Yeah, I guess I have to admit defeat.
I have to get up to 33% of games
I'm
won.
I'm hoping that someone on the internet will scrutinize over this video and say, that move there was an illegal move, and actually Daniel won. That's what I'm still hoping for.
Knowing my luck, that's going to be the case. But you know what, guys? We just house ruled everything that I did, so I'm good. I'm still winning here.
Screw rules.
Screw rules. Yeah. No, but all in all, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I think there's expansions or stuff for this game, so you could add more types of terrain and stuff, and I think I would I play really a lot of times, like we played let's say Love Letter, that amount of time, I would ask you to get a couple of expansion, because then the 8 kind of terrains that come with the first game are getting old. But if you play it like, I don't know, once a week maybe, you're totally good with the 8 terrains. For
me, complexity and feel-wise, this is similar to Carcassonne the Castle.
Yes. Also a dinner game that we like.
Entirely different games in that regard, but these little action tiles that give you some little bonus thing over there, and that kind of form how you play the game, because that increases the moveset that is available to you for placing settlements. And I do like games that kind of do that, modifying their own mechanics in a more substantial but still subtle way, in something different that other games do that are also heavily thematic, that then have some really wide rule bending kind of, this is a one type action that you can do, and I prefer this because this starts with a base game that is so simple, that is really easy to learn and get started with, and then figure out, okay, what other types of actions do I want to have? Do I want to go for the action, or do I, as I did, sacrifice the first getting one of those in favor of maybe getting points down here, and then
of water,
and then some water plays. That's. I think we can go into rating. Is there something that I missed that this super negative?
No, it was just the rule book for me that.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
the game I would say doesn't have enough meat on it to have too many negatives. If that makes sense.
It is a rather fast dinner type game. You can play it really quickly. Don't expect this to sit on your table for an hour or two, but you can get your kids at the table after dinner and play around. And you can really enjoy it.
And the more you get used to this game, you can probably do like drafting the tiles or deciding who gets what, or drafting these victory condition cards afterwards, to make it a little bit more interesting and fair. I think especially if you're playing with people or if you're in a group that has played this game a couple more times, to still keep it interesting.
Exactly. So stick your thumb out. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, slightly tilted.
And it's only tilted for me because I would say if I thumb this up with a game that's that short, that's something I would say, we can play this every evening. And there's very few games that get that much praise. And I know this is all nonsense because you can't really compare one thumb up, thumb down from one game to another. It's just how I feel about this. So whereas when we usually tend to play something very short and fast like Quicks or a Love Letter, those would be thumb up because I don't really tire of them.
No.
And this I could say that if we
I would need something else at a certain point, and that is sliding into funny stories and experiences. Would we play it as often as we do Quicks or Love Letter, I would need more tiles, so that would be more money spent on expansions then, or the big box or whatever.
And also probably a longer game with more.
Exactly. And that's 1 point for the slightly tilted thumb, as well as the manual. If I give a minus point, I have to tilt the thumb a little bit, but yeah.
But as I said, in regards to variety, these are only 4 of the 8 tiles that come with this game, and the other 4 have also different action tiles or location tiles, I should say. I refer to them as action tiles because
we know
words.
Words don't come easy. But experience is actually.
You really like this experience because you won with how many over 10 points? It's like.
I have
14 points advantage.
13. 13 in love. But the first game we played. Oh, don't suck. Don't suck either.
Don't suck at the game. Okay.
Sorry.
Wait, I can place one here, and then suddenly I have a lot of
totally winning. Now the first game we kind of played wrong because of the set questions for the locations and stuff, and the other wording that was kind of difficult in the manual was you have to build adjacent. So we skyrocketed with our points, but all the others we kind of were between 30 and now 60. Well, that is actually a really high score. But we kind of had this, let's say, pace happening that you also saw in the section earlier. He's really thinking long, and I'm just placing. Which usually makes me lose, but I kind of go intuitively, like, where do I want to go? Oh, this is a pretty spot, I'm going to go there. Oh, I like that action tile, so I start building there. Maybe I box myself in, I don't care. So I wasn't always very successful, but since we play rather fast, I'm not pissed off in the end. But it's funny also just watching you while you think it's like the furrowed brow and then the sigh of it happens a lot.
Are you referring to the hair on your teeth or on
what?
What's the third brow?
Furrowed.
The third brow. Oh.
What? Not third. The third brow is here. It's your mustache.
Like you're having another brow on your teeth or something like that.
No, it's my opossum. It has
being angry.
See what I got to deal with, folks. He's not listening to me if I'm not speaking very clearly.
A great resource for this game has also been the FAQ on Board Game Geek, which I would recommend looking into that because that clears up some of those things. The other things Sarah just mentioned that I forgot is, for example, the action you get with the tower. That's a little bit, again, just weird wording because in the translation to English would be something like, place on the edge, you get to choose the terrain type, or the terrain type doesn't matter, and then also adjacent, which almost makes it sounds like, okay, I choose the terrain type desert. Oh, I have nothing that is adjacent to desert, so I can now place it somewhere here on the board, which isn't true. It would have been very much simpler if they would have just written down saying, place on the edge of the board must be adjacent to a tile if possible. Done. No, and then it's just it's weird because it's only the sentence structure.
It's I think I know where it comes from. We know that the English manual was translated English, German, German, English. So
I think it's English, German, English.
Yeah. What did I say?
You had one cycle too much in there.
Yeah. So it was originally written in English, then translated to German, and then translated back to English. So you get things lost in translation. And the German one, for whatever reason, does feel like there was another language, and then it came to English, and then it came to German. So it just feels that
even
there
the translation German to German was a little flawed.
Very much so. So it just feels like a lot of things were lost in translation.
I was raising my third brow.
I'm gonna make you do housework later on just to punish you. But this can't be every week. Oh, why?
So
what did I do to you?
Similar to this game, this was 45 minutes of fun, roughly.
Hopefully, at least it was fun for me. I won. I mean, yay!
I forgot to mention this game was made for little humans ages 8 and up in mind.
Yeah.
And
so get your kids to the dinner table and then play a game of that with them afterwards.
We do enjoy it. Don't pro tip: don't put the little settlements up your nose.
Nope.
At least not so far that you need to go to a hospital to remove it again.
Just saying.
Things like that happen all the time across the world. Just be aware.
And now we leave you for this weekend. We're gonna go now. Have fun, folks. Thank you very much for watching.
Thanks for joining us on Backlog, the new show within the show, which is maybe not returning because nobody knows. This is entirely
I'm gonna make
unplanned.
him next week. I'm so gonna make him.
So you're watching this on a platform called YouTube, which has actually in contractual laws us to remind you to click the subscribe button if you haven't done so. Don't click it if you did, because that's unsubscribing, which is unfortunate. We don't want to do that. Then there's the whole shenanigans regarding the notification system. So if you actually want to get a notification about a video going up, you need to have someone you know who you recommended this channel, who also subscribed to the channel, and they have to click on the little bell icon, and they will then tell you if a new video is up, which is more efficient for us, because then you have to recommend our channel to at least one other individual who's also talking to you about this, because they will say, hey, the thing went up. And then, if that is not enough, there's also a little icon with a thumb up, which is not some kind of sexual preference thing. It's just that you are happy with what we're doing here. You can also thumb it down if you don't, because you're now offended, because I've kind of implied that YouTube is a platform for other things. Anyway, I will continue speaking, but we turn off the camera for the time being. We will turn it on again next week, so I will finish my sentence there, and then you can say hello to me again on this channel talking about a different video game.
No, not a video game. I listened to you.
Damn it.
I know it's a big mistake. Sometimes.
Someone paid attention.
Someone's paying attention. I have to correct you there. It's a board game.
Maybe I can draw another reference to a video game again.
That is very possible. We'll see. We haven't decided what game it's going to be yet.
But oxygen in my head was getting a little bit low on finishing that sentence, so I just said the first word that came out. So
trash.
No, video game.
Oh. But no, for sure we're gonna go now. If you want to connect with us, you can use the comment section below. You can also use the social media pages listed in the description box. And we are on Board Game Geek. There is a geek list for this particular format here, as well as the other board game format that I'm doing, which is Draw for Initiative. So take a look, have fun, have a wonderful Sunday.
The really important part about...
I wanted to say goodbye!
The really important part about the comment section is that you let me know if I probably should have won because we counted points wrong or something like that. That is really important.
Math is hard. We learned that in earlier episodes. That is very true. Math is hard. Now, for real. Bye.
Yeah, I was trying to say goobye like 20 minutes ago.
Yeah, really,
You just keep on rambling. It's goodbye.
Bye. What the fuck? Oh, you're on fire.